like to say to my guests is, hey, there's going to be the outro playing. Don't leave. I like to, get the feedback genuinely and discuss next step potentially. So when I stay in the off air, what's good is to be clear on next steps. Like, hey, this was great. Any feedback for me? Cool. I liked it because XYZ. Next step is this episode is going to go live on, and here you say the date of the publication. What I like to do, especially for the people I see I can build a relationship with, is to say the episode will be live in the next 24 hours. We'll send you the link and we'll do everything to get it live sooner. And if not, it's just like, hey, this episode is going to go live in a couple of weeks. And then asking the question, right? And this is the thing that I always do and that we need to stick to is, hey, tell me, John, how can I help? And that little question here will either feed you a bit more from what they said during the interview, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, no, I'm all good. Like what you did is already great. In which case you follow up on some of the things they told you in the podcast. Or, and like I'd say 25-30% of my guests do this. It's like, what is it that you do again? Or, yeah, I've looked into you. Like, how do you help people with podcasts? And they are inviting you to pitch. It's not going to be all of them, but like 2-3 out of 10 will be like, yeah, tell me more about what you do. So that's your entry door. If they don't, and they give you something to follow up on from the interview, you can use that. And then it depends a bit on how you feel it during the interview and how the relationship has been built, because you don't want the interview to turn into a sales call. You want to book a sales call only if it makes sense to both of you. But sometimes I'll just be very upfront. I'll be like, hey, look, this was great. Have you ever considered launching a podcast? Have you ever considered launching a proper management training for your middle management? Have you considered, getting rid of all the finance function and get someone else to take care of it? Like, asking the question point blank and see what they give you could be a good way as well. Then there is booking that follow-up call. So in any case, because I want to build goodwill and I want to build a network, I will always say, hey, look, there are some people I'm sure I can introduce you to. Would you be interested in that? Cool. I'll put a list of people together. I'll walk you through them individually, and you tell me who you want an introduction. We can do that in a second call. Cool. And then if there is an opportunity for a discovery call as well, this is where you ask. And this could be, so we could book a second call, and I'm curious to learn more about how you're trying to solve XYZ. I cannot do it right now. I have another interview or another call, because you don't want to transform that interview into a sales call directly. But like, let's fetch our calendars and book a second time if that's convenient. Cool, let's do this.
Why don't you want to go straight into a sales call?
So in marketing, there is a term called bait and switch, which is you attract people with something, and then it turns out to be something completely different. And we don't want people to feel that we did the podcast just to sell them something. We want the podcast to, one, genuinely be about great content. Like, so for instance, Consulting Leaders just got top 10% podcast globally. Like, we are doing everything we do to do great content, build an audience, and help the industry. If you don't have that in the first place, A, people won't be interested into coming, and B, they will see this as a marketing. Some of them, the educated ones, will be seeing as a marketing, as a lead gen service. And the second thing is, even after the interview, you don't want them to feel that all this was just to sell them something. Now, if you have a super feeling ready, and it happens, I'd say, for me, maybe 1 in 20, 1 in 30 guests, we'll be like, oh yeah, actually, look, I have a podcast and what you're doing is great. Like, tell me how you do this. And then you can switch it directly. So it will depend on the feeling that you have. But what I like to do is to have a clear separation between the podcast and the sales call. Yeah. That's for the perception of the guest and potentially the lead. Now, for me, we just recorded for 45 minutes. I don't know how much time they booked in their calendar, but probably not more than 1 hour. If we get into a discovery call, I want to go deep. I want to ask the questions. I want to understand what they offer, how they offer it, like much more than we did during the interview. I want to have time and also to pitch my offer. If we only have 15, 20 minutes to do so, I won't have the time to do my proper discovery call. So in any case, it's better to book a second call where mentally they're in the space where they know there's going to be a commercial discussion, and you have time to actually do the things for them.
If you run a professional services firms and you are not growing as fast as you'd like, then I'd like to give you a free gift. My team and I have put together the B2B Podcasting Secrets Playbook, which is basically 3 years of my teams and I knowledge, solving branding and lead generation for good for professional services firms. So if this is you, then your business growth is directly linked to the number and the quality of the relationships that you're able to build with actual decision makers, also whilst building reputation and brand. And we got pretty good at helping people like you do exactly that using podcast. So the playbook has 9 sections, from how to even position it, to finding the first guests, how to transform content and guests into clients, all the way up to becoming the number 1 influencer in your space. It includes visuals, videos, text, and templates, and case studies relevant to each and every section. And if you want to go even faster, then on the thank you page, you can book a call directly with my team, and we will look at your firm, see if we can help. And if so, we'll put together a tailored plan for your specific podcast that you can use and implement.